Okay. Hi, everyone that might listen in a later point in time. We will start directly with questions, then go over homework, do a bit new stuff, and then do some more practice, because at this point, practice is very important. There was a question by Nick. Nick, can you just repeat it?
No, it's by Konstantin, but
Oh, I am sorry.
no problem. If I could share my screen.
Of course, go ahead. Let's see if you already have permissions. Otherwise, I would need to give them to you, but I think it is already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I have the Discord overlay here. Yeah, so I did git pull and I
hmm
encountered this problem. I already solved it 2 times and I
hmm
know how to get out of it and all, but it always occurs again.
Okay.
There's nothing I can do against
Yeah.
it. It always comes up.
Okay. This is fine. Just quit out of it again.
Yeah.
Perfect. Open up your Visual Studio Code. Perfect.
Can you see it?
No, not yet. I think you're only right now sharing your console.
Yeah, wait a second. How can
Sure,
I
take it out.
change it? Now?
Yeah, now I can see it. Close whatever's open, the ds_store up there. Down there, do another git pull, just to be sure. Okay,
Okay.
you are already up to date. I don't see anything popping up for you there.
Yeah, I did the same thing like 2 seconds ago, and
Okay,
it had
then
a
go
mess.
back, share me the terminal again. Let's do it from terminal. If you think this is a terminal thing, I have a different suspicion. I have a different suspicion. God damn it,
Yeah.
my brain is fried. I still don't see your console. I only see a VS Code now.
No.
Okay, you are already on branch master. Okay, git pull again. Let me see. It is
Okay.
already up to date.
Yeah, I hate it. Okay, I think if I change branches, maybe it will come up. Then I had this before.
Okay. Now we can do git pull again if you want.
Yeah, okay, it doesn't occur. I don't know why. I did it 2 seconds ago and it
This is
came up.
fine.
But
I can also relate to that. This is half of my programmer life. Whenever I tell my lead developer that I need something because it doesn't work for me, and I show him it works.
yeah, so then I just forget about it, and maybe if
Yeah,
it comes up again, I
it is already forgotten.
yeah. Okay,
There's
thank you.
this. Sure. I mean, I did not do anything. Can stop sharing if you want. Are you familiar, all of you, or any one of you, with the concept of rubber duck debugging? Maybe heard of it before? Anyone? Okay, no one. I will quickly explain it. There is a common practice amongst developers, and you see quite often rubber ducks, like Badeenten in German, somewhere next to developer computers. It might actually be any object that you would feel confident talking to. The overall concept is, if you explain what you're doing step by step to that rubber duck or whatever it might be, and it makes sense to you, then it most likely works. But usually by just speaking it out loud, you realize where you're wrong in the process of building some code. Therefore, there's a common practice of just explaining what the code should do to an inanimate, or however you feel about it, object around you, because that solves a lot of questions. And then the next level, of course, is explaining the code to another person. This is then like the next level, but that of course takes the time of the other person as well. Therefore, usually you can just tell it to yourself or to an object if you like to. It's called rubber duck debugging. It's something that is done very commonly. Okay, then I will just go ahead and share my screen. Then I will walk you through everything that I am doing to solve the homework.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
Before
yeah, sure.
can you can we before doing the homework can you look into one problem which I I'm
Of
facing right
course.
now.
Yes, then go ahead and share me your screen. Then we can
Yeah.
look at that together.
So I was trying to submit my homework,
Yes.
and I faced this error or warning when I added the git push command.
Okay. Scroll to the very bottom. Right now, you are on Microsoft PowerShell and not on WSL in the terminal. Therefore, please open up your Ubuntu terminal for now. You need to look back up this how do I change my terminal to use the WSL terminal. But for now, go outside, open up your Ubuntu terminal. Let's try that one again because there's a chance this already works.
Yeah, I tried that also, but it
Yeah.
didn't work.
Okay, let us go through that together. First of all, please save your files. So the homework.py I see with the icon next to it, it is not yet saved. Therefore, save that file. Yeah, perfect. Same goes for script.py. It's also open and unsaved. I just see that from at the top of your files.
This
N-
one?
No, there's one in your top bar, even just above the
Oh,
code. Yep, there's
okay.
this. Yeah, there's this icon. Click on the file, and I mean just if you want, just say it. Okay, perfect. Now, please open up your Ubuntu terminal because then I can look at where the error is actually. And share me that screen, of course, because right now I only see your VS Code.
Okay. I think I have to go to the same steps again. Not sure. Or should I open the VS Code where I already did all the steps?
No, this is fine. Just open up your Ubuntu terminal for now. We will navigate there together, look at all of it. This is fine. I
Okay.
just need to see it because right now I don't because I only see your VS Code. We will make it work. I'm fairly confident.
Okay, I'll again share the screen because I opened
Yes,
it.
of course. Go ahead, reshare the screen. Everything should be solvable. Okay, something coming in. Okay, I still see your VS Code, not your terminal, so, not your Ubuntu. Something coming in. Okay, now I see your whole screen. Now, yeah, give me that Ubuntu. Great. Okay, please navigate to wherever your code folder is. It should be, so if you are on WSL and did follow all my steps, then your code folder should be situated in,
Yeah.
wait, CD, it should be tilde. Oh, it's there. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, it's fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
yes.
no, it's okay. Okay. So did you not follow the steps to upgrade to Z Shell? Are you still on Bash?
Oh, I tried it.
Okay. This we can fix. I will send you 2 links, but not for now. Right now, just give me the inside there. Give me git status, git space status, so I see what is going on. Okay. So I see you are on your branch Yashan HM110, and you have one file that you modified. Therefore, what you would do now is git space add space dot. So to add that to the staging area, press enter. Then if you would do the git status again, you would see it is now in staging. Yeah, if you don't really need to, but now you see it is being looked at. Now you do the git space commit space -m, and then in quotation marks, add in your message. It's like, oh, quotation marks. Yeah, like whatever you want to write, like this is homework or yeah, okay, something like that. Perfect. Press enter. And now you do the git push, git space push. And then let's see what it says. And then you just copy that line, git push and that one. Yep, just copy that line and paste it below. And from what I see, this could be working. I will now go back to GitHub and see if your branch actually exists. And I see Yashan_HM. Yeah, there is one thing that exists.
So when I was trying to do, it didn't work.
You see right now, this is
Yeah.
why I try to eliminate every factor that could be disturbing, like your other terminal, all the other stuff around it, to just see the pure way of does Git work on your machine. And for me, it does work on your Ubuntu part of your machine. Therefore, we solved that one. Now, the next steps for you, and this is maybe important to know, I in the past did push, did share a couple guides. One of them is how do I make sure that my default terminal is no longer bash but Z shell. There's a link already in the group chat. I can also look it up for you again. The other one is how do I make sure that my VS Code automatically uses the right integrated terminal, because yours did use Windows PowerShell, what you do not want, because you wanted to actually use your Windows subsystem for Linux. And the third thing is the setup of Visual Studio Code. We in the past did that with the other people, where there is one extension that actually makes sure that your Windows subsystem for Linux is properly linked to your Windows machine. So you can use everything that is installed on Windows Subsystem for Linux. If you follow these 3 steps, and we can do that together at a later point, just reach out to me.
Okay.
You should see what all the other people see. But you see, in theory, it works because we made it work just now.
Mhm.
Okay, now that you have it pushed, the other things I think we should not do now, but we can do at a later point. I'm happy to help you. You can stop sharing then because it did work. Good job. Okay, anyone else having any issues that we should go over now? Because I feel like now we're in the flow of solving. But if this is not the case, then I will just go ahead and do what I actually want to do. Good, 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 good. You will now see again a part of my screen. This is our GitHub together. I will also use that part of the screen to actually go through homework and all of this stuff. Showing you again and again the same workflow that I do if I start coding. Welcome to my machine. First thing you would always do in the beginning is upgrade machine. Oops. Making sure my machine is up to date. This should only take a couple of seconds, I hope. If anything is cryptic, just yell, because I love to explain it again and again, because this is just important. Oh, god damn it. This may take some time. This is a message you rarely read in there. The fourth effect. But that is fine. Every now and then I wonder if something in all the packages that I install and I share off on the internet might be suspicious, or if anyone can hack me based off the packages I have. I don't think anyone actually watches the channel who has this intent. But every now and then I'm concerned that maybe I should blur all of that. Good. So I am done with that. I will exit out of that, and then I will navigate to my code folder. Always remember, tab does autocomplete. Therefore, I am now in the folder. First thing I do in the folder is to do a git pull to make sure that I am on the latest, which I should be because I'm the only one who is allowed to push to master. Okay, perfect. Now that I am on the latest version of our common project's master branch, I will open up my VS Code. Moving that to the side, moving that one in. Okay, And yeah, no, that now that it did work last time, I will actually just reopen this Jupyter notebook. I might share a guide with all of you on how to set that up. You don't really need to. This is just for showing purpose on how to actually use it, because I think it is better to display what I'm doing than the other stuff. And I already did create a Jupyter notebook for all of you. You see that, right?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. I love that auditory feedback. Okay, so what we have in there is the 3 tasks of the homework. Oh, that one should be like task 1. And I will just walk through the whole thing together with you. I have seen a couple of interesting ideas that we might quickly discuss, but I will not implement for now. Generally speaking, is there any one of you who's willing to, I think that might actually be a nice thing. Now that I went through all the pull requests for today and pretty much everyone has that exercise right, is there one of you who is interested in just sharing the thought process of how to walk through such a task? This might be a nice exercise to just do that ad hoc.
I could do it.
Sure, go ahead. Tell me what do you see? What is the problem and how do you think of solving?
Okay, so first I wanted to create something that actually asks me for a number, not just that I type in X is this and that. So something that really comes out of something.
Okay.
And then I thought the number has to be positive from, and if the number has to be negative, and if the number is 0, so I did X is blah blah blah, X is blah blah blah, X is blah blah blah, or bigger than, smaller than, and told every time print if it's positive, if it's negative, if it's 0.
Yeah. Okay. That in theory is very good. But I will just also, as this is part of learning, and this is also why I really enjoy if people just verbalize what they want to do, I will also just tell you what I would do differently. So overall, you said you prompt the user for input for a number. And then you save that in a variable, the variable you call X. General convention, if you have a variable that you define, make as humanly clear as possible what the variable is. So if I tell the people on my team on how they should name the variables, I tell them, make the variable name so long and obvious that it feels like someone is oversharing with you what the variable does. So I don't mind having a variable that is like 5 words together with an underscore between all of them, as long as it's crystal clear what it does. So for this, I would assume, so I would propose something like the number that the user inputted, for example, something that is like very obvious. The X, if I look at the code, is not clear to me. But if someone else were to look at the code, that person should just see what that variable is.
Okay, so
tell me something different, not an X, but something that makes clear that this is the user input.
Yeah, I think I also did it different in a homework. I just re-looked at it. So I did if number and then is bigger than.
Yeah, first tell me, how do you name the variable?
I named the variable number.
Okay, any better suggestions that it's not just numbers, but makes clear that this is user input? I'm very pedantic on these things. Okay, I will come up with something. Number that the user inputted. And how do I get a number from the user? What is the code for that? You all did it properly?
I'd int for because it's the whole number. And then
this is the next step, yeah. But how do you get the input?
I'm not sure what you mean.
What is the function that needs to be executed so the user is prompted to enter a number? Anyone can just yell in.
Just the input function, as in just input and the brackets?
Yes, this is the input function. What this does is it will just, in that regard, it will not display anything. But if you were to enter in a string behind it, that would be displayed to the user. And then whatever the user types in the console will then be taken as input. I will show you in a second. Please enter a number. And then if I just print this monster here, and I now execute that code, you see below, it now prompts me with that text to enter in a number. And now I enter in the number, and then the number is saved in that variable, and I can use that number. Is that clear what I meant?
Yeah, I think I defined that it only can put in whole numbers. So that's why I said int.
Yeah, this is a very good point. This is also correct. Because if you, I will just recreate that, number that the user inputted is by default. So what this function returns is a string. And a string I cannot, for example, compare as you are about to do. And I can only compare numbers usually, for example. So if I were to, there's a function in Python that's called typeof. It tells me what type that function is. So if I run that now, it will tell me, oh, wait, is it not typeof in Python? Oh, it's just type in Python. Sorry, I am always confused between languages. I will enter a number, and it tells me, that function here, what type, what data type the return value is. And it tells me it's a string. And a string is really bad to compare. I cannot compare a string and a number. I cannot say this sentence is bigger than the number 10. This does not make sense. Therefore, your argument, what you just said, is correct. You want to make sure that whatever the user gives to you is in any way converted into a number. I will actually make a comment here. Check the type of something. Just so you see that later on time. So what you do is, it would be called casting into an integer. So you said you do an int around it, right?
Yeah.
Because now, if I were to do that again, and I run that, and I enter in 100, now it does that. Now it only returns me an integer. I have seen there's other ways to solve that issue of the user inputting the wrong thing. Leon, I think you were the one with the loop, right? Okay, Leon is not listening.
Like trying to avoid an error, the value error.
Yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah.
you did it differently, right? How did you do it? Because that's also a good one.
I
Actually, I think the
used
correct one.
try except.
How do you do that? I will explain later point in time how to do that.
So basically you have Python try something, and in case an error occurs, you have some code in place to handle that error.
Okay, and what did you try?
I tried like converting the input to an integer.
Yeah, you did that basically, right?
Right.
I will explain what he did at a later point in time, but this is actually how I would also solve it in practice. For sake of this exercise, because you did not learn it yet, this is an excellent way to do it. The other one is a really good way. Okay, go ahead. You did the right thing. Tell me how you checked for if the number is negative, if it's 0, or if it's positive, negative, or 0.
So yeah, then I did if number is bigger than 0, it's prints it's positive. Negative 0 is smaller than 0. And for if number is 0, I did just 2 equal signs. and set it's 0.
Okay, that one is correct. How did you do the interim check? Like if it's negative?
I did a smaller than 0.
So how did you, what is the
So
syntax?
if number is smaller sign 0, and
Okay,
then
yeah,
print it negative.
you can actually also do that. I was hoping that people would now use the elif syntax.
Yeah, I also had that.
Yeah.
Leon also commented on my commit. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure if I needed elif here,
Yeah.
because it worked fine without, and
It does. This is correct. Let me explain to you why it makes sense to do that.
Yeah.
So I only run through the whole thing once. I only execute this whole block once. Otherwise, it checks again and again the whole statement. If it's bigger, otherwise, is it smaller? It is a very minimal save of computing capacity. It's nice if you do it. Otherwise, the other one also works. Therefore, it would not be wrong if you also did it with just ifs. And it's also like such a small optimization that I don't really care. So also just working with ifs is fine. Then elif, and the other one would be an else. Great. If we now let that run and we enter in a negative number, it tells me it's smaller than 0. If I enter in a 0, it also tells me it's 0. Good job. You solved that one.
I wasn't quite sure you did else there, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really tell you if the number is 0. It just tells you that the numbers before aren't positive or negative, or quotes there are no other options.
Mhm.
But I thought this might be the wrong attempt, because
Okay.
there would be
What
another
value
way.
can the number be that is
Yeah, exactly. And it couldn't be anything else, either positive or negative, but I thought somewhat it's a cheat around. I mean, there is of course no option, but
yeah. I mean, if you were to mathematically now tell me that there's any way that the number must not be 0, I am convinced. But right now,
yeah,
I'm
okay.
checking for if it's bigger. I'm checking for if it's smaller. Therefore, the conclusion is it has to be 0.
Okay.
But I'm like math has some very, very weird things that I don't understand. Therefore, maybe tell me, then I learned something. Generally, this is the correct solution. Any question from anyone? Not the case. Let us continue on. Anyone else who wants to explain to me the second task?
I can try if
Please go ahead.
nobody else wants. Okay. Yeah, so I used a for loop like we practiced last week.
Okay.
And then I thought how I get like the numbers from 1 to 20 into like a list or something. And then I remembered that there's the range function. And first I wrote 20 in the brackets, but then I forgot that we start counting with 0. So it just showed the numbers up to 19. Yeah, then I corrected that to 21. So it actually shows 0 to up to 20. Yeah, and then I got run over the list like for E in range, for number, yeah, or for number in exactly the list of numbers.
Yeah.
And then I thought about how to check if it's an even number.
Yeah.
And you can divide it by 2, and there is nothing, no rest. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you do that? What is the operator for that? Because I was asked it again and again.
Modulo.
Modulo.
I had to Google it. I have to admit, because I
Good
did
job
not
googling it.
remember.
Yeah. I was also
what-
asked it again, although I did explain it in the first session. I have
Yeah,
to
you
say.
did, and I remember that it exists, but I did not remember the
Okay.
exact name.
Okay. How do you check for if it's divisible by 2?
You write if E I wrote, and then you do the like percentage sign.
Modulo.
And then you write 0 and then 2
0.
equal. No, by 2 and then equal 0.
Precise.
Yes.
Now what you're basically checking is there a remainder after
Yes.
you divide by 2? And if nothing remains, then it has to be divisible by 2.
By 2, yes. And yeah, and then you just have to print number if it's the case.
Precise. Okay, now let us execute that. It does that. Although you could argue that the 0 is not divisible by 2. Therefore, I would only start, let's say, at the 1.
Yeah, makes sense.
But everything else is fine. Therefore, this would then be the correct result. Good. That was very clean. Now for the tricky one. Like I said, the task 3 is something that is a very common question, or has been in the past, for coding interviews if you were to join a new company. If you have to solve that on the spot and you did not hear that one before, you have to quickly wrap your brain around it. Anyone willing to present?
I could do it if nobody wants.
Sure, go ahead. Tell me, how do you see the problem? How do you want to solve it?
So, yeah, I read the question, and the first idea was to first check divisible by 3, then 5, and then both 3 and 5. And then I realized it always shows divisible by 3 or 5 because it checks after it. So I turned it around and started with if it's divisible by 3 and 5, then worked my way down and checked if it's divisible by 3, and then if it's divisible by 5, and then it worked. So that you put the last one first.
Okay, this is clean. Tell me how you write that out.
So yeah, I just the thing I did in the first task, I just copied that with the number int input, enter a number, so that asks me for the number.
Yeah. So you actually did the okay, yeah, go ahead.
Then I did if number divisible by 3 equals 0. And number divisible by 5 equals 0. And then print number.
Did you have to look that and up? Because I did not yet teach the and.
I tried first with the and, there's a sign for it, and then I remembered that you said that Python is very understanding, and I just typed and it turned color, and it somehow worked.
Yeah, this is like the nice thing, but also the scary thing about Python, because stuff that you would not fully expect to work actually works.
Yeah.
And this is the worst thing I could tell you as a developer, if you're in a point where your code works, but you don't fully understand why it works, because this is like one of the scariest moments. Okay, so now that we figured out, wait, let me actually make a comment about it. There is a way to chain together logical operators, as these are called. So these checks here, for example, is it divisible by 3?
Yeah.
You can chain these together with and, or. These are the 2 really common ones. There's a bunch more. Some, or. You can look that up under Boolean logic, but usually the ands and the ors are the common ones that you would use. Okay, so if it is divisible by both, what would you do then?
I said print fisbus, I think it said. Yeah, and then I actually did elif. Yeah, and then that if a number divisible 3, not the if, yeah, a number divisible by 3 equals 0, print fis, and yeah. The same thing with elif number is divisible by 5 equals 0, print bus. And for the last one, I said else print number. So it just outputs what I input.
Print one. Wait, I also have to correct these. Okay, now let us see if that one works. Okay, I will enter in, tell me which number should I enter in. I will enter in a 15. And it correctly gives me the FizzBuzz. If I do that again, and I enter in 5, it does the buzz. If I enter in a 3, it does the fizz. And if I enter in, let's say, a -12, it does the fizz. If I enter in a 0, if I enter in a 0, it does the FizzBuzz.
I never tried that, but that's interesting.
How, any ideas, anyone, how to solve it?
I mean, is it incorrect if you divide nothing through something, it's still nothing? Is it incorrect that it's divisible by both and
Is
remains
0 divisible by 2? 0 is
I think
divisible by
it's correct.
everything. Okay.
I would say that as well, because yeah.
Okay.
What
I
would-
will edit the recording and remove me doing something stupid. No, I will not. I was not aware that you can just divide 0 by everything and it works. Well, good. I also learned something today. Ben, good job. Your solution works.
Good.
Questions on that exercise?
Yeah, I had the exact same thought process than Konstantin and did the exact same thing. And I wondered if there would be another way to solve it.
Okay. Tell me about your other way to solve it.
I don't have one, but I just wondered if it would like be possible to have a third, like Konstantin. I first had it in the order that the task is written, like first divisible by 3, then 5, then both, and it just divided it by 3 if both was possible. And I wondered if I can write something that would check if the first two if and elifs are true at the same time, and then do the third thing. I don't know if it makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, I just wondered if there was another way than to put the by 3 and 5 on the first place, and I did not come up with a solution, so I just put it up on the first place like Konstantin did. But it was my.
I mean, of course, you can work around in some weird manner. Let me just give you my thought process here. You could just say, I have, so I'm solving this right now as part of a function. The function is the FizzBuzz checker, and it takes in a number. Let's just say I will just go ahead with, oh wait, I will call the function with the number that the user provided. The user inputted. Now, what I do, I can in the beginning just have a bunch of variables where I can say divisible by 5, and I set that to a value that is number five, something like that, where I can just say, I don't even think that works, but I have to engineer a way around it. So I can say this could be true, then I have same thing, and then I can, no, it also doesn't work. Wait, forget, no, it's the same thing. So I'm thinking of if I could just work with these true and false values in a weird way, but also it doesn't fully override it. Anyone have any idea how to solve it differently? Because every time I did it in the past was only exactly like that. So that one does not work.
Maybe there is no other way. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there is other ways to solve it, but this is just, I think, what people want to hear if you were given that task. I will just leave it like that for now because now it works. This is the perfect solution for what I have in mind. Now that we only have a couple more minutes, I want to go over two things together with you. Both of them are somewhat straightforward, but important to know. One thing that you have seen in your homework, as well as in every time that I have written code in the past, is the way that Python indents, as it's called, stuff after a colon. So I can say, for example, wait, let me just quickly remove that stuff here. I can say I will define a function, call it my function. Then I have that colon here, and then everything is indented. So you see there's a couple of white spaces before something actually happens. First of all, what do these white spaces mean? Everything, so as soon as this thing is called and the colon happens, then it does everything that is indented after it. So if I were to again write print, this happens too, when I call my function, it does print me both of these lines. Wait, what am I doing? Did I do something stupid? Multi-line function definition. Do they now use? Am I stupid? Sorry, I'm confused. Why is it showing me that arrow? It should not be showing me that arrow. Cell 14 line 1, my function. Print, should print that. But it expects, oh, of course, I'm stupid. If I define a function, I have to tell it what parameters to give. Or if it takes any parameters. Right now, it doesn't have to. Okay, forget what I just did. my mind was totally blank. If I call that thing, it does everything that is indented. And then the function's over. Then it looks again for the next thing it can execute. So generally speaking, code is executed top to bottom. And it goes through everything top down until it reaches the point where it sees something with a colon behind it. And then it checks if it should actually execute that, yes or no. Better example than that might actually be an if statement. If true, this happens. So right now, what it should do is whenever I call the thing, it should say print this happens. And then only as soon as this is over, it should look again in the general scope. So it should continue looking up, down, and then it should, this happens after. Do you understand what I mean? So everything that is indented belongs to whatever it has been declared with. In other languages, this would be done with these braces. Everything in between them would be part of one function, of one object, would belong together. Stuff that belongs together in Python is just indented. This is just a different way of writing stuff. What this also means, and this is an important thing to understand, you can have stuff defined in what is called the global scope, and you can have stuff defined in only like a local scope. So I can say there's a variable, I call it x, and x is set to 10. And I can access this variable x. Of course, here I can just say print x. But I can also access this variable x in a function. Both of this would work. I'm so stupid. Both of this would work. If I now call the function as well, it should do the same thing because the value x is accessible everywhere because it's what is called a global variable. But you can also have a local variable because I can say inside of that function, I also define a variable that is called y, and y is set to 15. And this variable y, I cannot access outside of it. I can say print y, and if I now call that thing, it will tell me y is not defined. But I see that y is defined, but y is not defined on a global level, on the outside level, but y is only defined inside of that function. Meaning I can, of course, within that function, use the variable y, but not outside. I can, in there, print the y. And if I now run it, because I call the function, it should print the y. Yeah, I can also get rid of that one. Now it does print the y, because in there, it can see the y. But on the outside, it cannot see the y. This is an important thing and something that you would wonder about again and again if you have never heard that one before. So this is called scope. There's stuff that only lives inside of a specific area, and there is stuff that basically lives everywhere that you can also access everywhere. I also did have an example in the code that I already uploaded with comments that I will just paste in here to go over that again. This is the same thing, basically what I just described, just so you can look it up. Is that concept clear of scope? Scope within, scope on the outside.
Yes,
Great.
I think it's clear.
The other thing that is somewhat related, but not fully related, is how style. There's a specific style in writing Python code. I also put this here. There is one specific specific way in which you were to lay out your Python files. I just put all of it here, and this is also something that you don't need to fully understand for now, but also maybe look up at a later point in time. This is about a convention of how you would use white spaces in a Python file, how you would use empty lines in a Python file, how a Python file should look in general. All of this I just threw together in one file, the very basics. There's one convention, it's called PEP-8. I think also your VS Code does have an extension that is, I think it's called AutoPEP. I might actually type it in there. And what it can do is just get your Python code whenever you save the code into exactly that styling that it should have. Basically, the styling, the one important thing is if you were to use a colon, then you would have to use 4 white spaces if you do it right. It is actually not done right in there. Attempt. And where would you use blank lines? This is just like use it as some form of guidance, have a look at it. Don't be very strict about it. I am not either. And also you have something in your terminal that will tell you of how you would do it best. Understood? There's conventions in how to write very clean codes, how to write comments, how to best comment on functions, how to use white space, all of that stuff. Okay. I think this is all that I just wanted to quickly give you. The one important thing for today is understanding scope, global scope and local scope. Or yeah, non-global scope. I don't even know what the term is. I have something for you again, now that I have seen how you all did with the homework, that I'm very interested in. For you all to do again, I will actually paste that here. What does it not like? I think it would not like these. I will comment them back out again. Okay, we're fine now. Homework for next time. Homework for next time will be, I think I already uploaded it for you. It is something that should be straightforward, but test everything, or basically all the other things that we did not together this time. I want all of you to write me one function, a function called string reverser. I basically already call the function for you. You just have to do everything above it. So you have to define it for me. This function takes in any string that you want to give it, and it returns to you the string in the reversed order. So the last letter should be the first. Please do that till next time. Next time we will go over this homework. I want to explain something about it. And then I will teach you one new concept, a very important one, that is called object-oriented programming. And also explain to you how classes work in Python. So the next one will be a more theory-heavy unit, but make sure to first get that homework right, because that one shows me that you can properly work with functions. You can work with strings or arrays. Yeah, that you can deal with it. And it's a bit of thinking as well. Homework is already uploaded. If there is no question so far, I will just stop the recording for now, and then we can talk again if you like. Perfect. How do I stop the recording? Where's the button? There it is.